While verifying the divine power he had just received, he saw the man casually point forward, and the fire hydrant on the street side suddenly burst, spraying water everywhere. Right after he closed and opened his eyes, the next second he changed into the latest shirt from the clothing store and burned the tag off with a flick. At this moment, he truly seemed to have become a god, but before he could enjoy it for 2 seconds, he suddenly saw the little thug who had bullied him before, only to see him make himself stronger first with a breath of fairy chi. He then swaggered over to the thugs and demanded an apology from them, but this only made the thugs laugh out loud. The bearded tailhand brother told him, unless he could produce a monkey from his butt today, which he immediately thought was a great idea. And then the next second, as Brother Sunroko trembled, a monkey suddenly burst through his pants and drilled out. The terrifying scene immediately scared everyone away, but he didn't intend to let them go easily. And then he opened his mouth and spat out a swarm of bees, chasing down the thugs at the speed of light. Just then, the monkey suddenly ran back and asked where he should go. He replied to go back where he came from, of course. At this moment, he felt comfortable, but don't look at him now. He was still a real loser just a day ago. Rushing to work, he encountered an unprecedented traffic jam and barely made it to his office downstairs, almost being caught by the car door and falling flat on his face. He has been just a bit luckier than a beggar on the street side. However, the first thing he heard when he got to the office was that his original program had been replaced, and the host who was his competitor started mocking him wildly, which instantly angered him. Seeing the argument escalate, the boss quickly changed the subject. After the meeting, Dashan realized his dream of becoming a top host was slipping away. He reluctantly begged his boss, who agreed to give him one last chance. Excited, Dashan thought his big break had finally arrived. However, when he connected with the station, he discovered his rival, Brother Chiang, had been officially named the TV host. What infuriated Dashan more was Brother Chiang mocking him on air, calling him an unlucky fool. This crushed Dashan's spirit, causing him to ramble incoherently during the live broadcast, ruining his hard-earned opportunity. The company promptly fired Dashan. At home, he complained endlessly, even cursing God for being indifferent. Still upset, he decided to drive, accidentally hitting a street lamp. Though the car was damaged, he was unharmed. Reflecting on his misfortunes, Dashan again ranted at God, unaware he was actually being hurt. The next morning, Dashan was woken by his pager. Annoyed, he threw it out the window. While taking his dog out, he found the broken pager still working. He called the number, which offered him a job. Eager for this opportunity, he rushed to the location, only to step in a puddle of sewage upon arrival. Complaining is complaining, but luckily, Dashan didn't forget about the interview. He was greeted by an older black man in a cleaning suit who told him that the interview was on the 7th floor. When Dashan finally made it upstairs, it was that same old man, now in a white suit. The man said he was an all-knowing and all-powerful God, and had Dashan open a file cabinet in the corner, filled with Dashan's complaints about God over the years. God then told Dashan that since he loved to complain and thought that he hadn't done enough good in the world, he should try being God. If he left the building that day, Dashan would have the same divine power as God. Dashan, of course, didn't believe him, but the evidence made Dashan believe that he did possess the same divine power as God. Apparently, because Dashan ran so fast earlier, God had 2 more rules for Dashan to obey. Having the power of God, he couldn't interfere with people's free will and couldn't reveal his identity to anyone. After this, God took off. Realizing he'd become God's successor, Dashan built a level of confidence he never had before. The first thing he wanted to do that night when he got home was to spend a good romantic evening with his girlfriend. To set the mood, he first cleared away the dark clouds in the night sky with his hands, and then he lassoed the moon and gradually pulled it closer bit by bit. The couple spent an unforgettable night under this unparalleled beauty. The next morning, Mountain heard noises in his head but couldn't find their source. He turned to see the dog peeing on the sofa. Mountain quickly sent the dog to the bathroom and flushed the toilet himself. After a brief chat with his girlfriend, Mountain made an excuse to leave, intending to reclaim his job using divine power. His wrecked car instantly became a luxury supercar. In traffic, a wave of his hand cleared the way. At a crime scene, Mountain's former colleagues sneered at him upon his arrival. Now God's successor, Mountain didn't take their mockery to heart. Under his control, the dog unearthed a corpse, giving Mountain exclusive news to outdo his former colleague. Mountain returned to his old company, where even his former boss now flattered him to come back. Negotiating terms, Mountain quickly became the media's go-to source for breaking news. Successful in work and love, he invited his girlfriend to dinner. She thought he'd propose, a moment she'd long awaited, but Dashan had other news. Oblivious to her disappointment, Dashan began sharing his joy. Suddenly, strange voices filled his head again. He became agitated and fled outside, but the voices persisted relentlessly. In an instant, he found himself on Mount Everest. God explained these were prayers, warning they'd grow louder if ignored. Back home, Dashan devised a plan to handle the prayers.